Hey, welcome to the Gunslinger podcast. I'm your host, Uncle Dane. I'm the only person here, actually. It's just me. I was thinking about bringing in guests for this kind of thing, but, I think I'm going to do it solo for the most part. I could bring in guests later on down the line if I felt like it would spice up the conversation a little bit, but for now, it's going to be just me, Solo Dane. Solo O. I don't Solo O. That's all that Spanish is. You just add O to the end of things, right? Anyway, first things first, we're gonna give a shout out to Flittzy, who did the intro music for this thing. Go and check out Flittzy. He does a bunch of YouTube videos as well as music. I think he did a song. I remember I first found out about him because he did a song. It was like a cover of Frontier Justice, but he added lyrics to it. It was actually really good. Anyway, the format of this podcast is going to be mostly just me asking. You're going to ask. No, it's the opposite. I'm going to answer questions that you guys asked. On Twitter, I asked back in February for people to just throw questions at me. So we're going to just answer those. I'm just going to go and look at my Twitter and see what you guys want to know. Just anything about it. It doesn't matter. Could be about TF2. Could be about anything. I don't care. So the first question comes from Zapdy2, the Zapdy2 on Twitter. He asks, what do you think Valve should do? It's a TF2 question. What do you think Valve should/could do in 2017 to gain back the lost trust caused by 2016's botched patches or updates? They could come out with a good update. I mean, people who like the game enough to keep playing it. They're gonna want to play it. They want to like the game. They want to like what Valve is doing. So I mean, if Valve just does something that they like, then they'll jump on it. I mean, if you're holding grudges because somebody came out with a bad update and then they come out with a good update and you're like, yeah, well, what about that last update? That was a piece of shit, wasn't it? I don't know if you should be playing video games, or especially TF2, because I mean, I don't know. It's just one of those games, especially any Valve game. It's just one of those things where you can't really dedicate your loyalty to it. They're a mixed bag of content right now. They don't even really consider themselves a game company at this point. So if you're, depending on Valve, stop. Just take what they get. Take what you get. Sure. I mean, they're a game company that should definitely take themselves a little bit more seriously as a game company, but that's just not how it works. That's just not how they run it. So, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. People just kind of get their hopes up unnecessarily for this stuff. So, I don't know if that answered the question, but the answer to the question is they'll just make a better update and people will forget about, Meet Your Match or whatever. Assuming that's what you were talking about. RT Game Daniel asks on Twitter, and I'm recognizing these names so far. Zapdy and RT, I'm pretty sure they're TF2 YouTubers, and I'm not prioritizing their questions because of this. I swear it's just how Twitter is organizing it. He asks, do you have any scrapped videos that you could never finish? How much time do you spend on a video idea before finishing it? I've scrapped 2 or 3 live comms in the past, for sure. Just because, you get in there and you just press record and you record whatever happens, and at the end of the day you look back on it and most of the time, I mean, how many live comms have I made? Probably 10. So I'd say that a little around a third of them that I've made. I don't know if I'm doing math right there, but that a little around a third of them, I'm assuming, is how many I've decided not to publish because I didn't like the way that they turned out. Those weren't really video ideas, though. I scrapped the original format that the engineer's blueprints had. It originally was just me walking around the map live, exactly how I'm talking to you right now with no script, and just looking at a piece of the map and being like, here's what you do here. This is what this is called. And it was twice as long. It was an hour long. I did this with Upward, by the way. It was an hour long, and it was just all over the place. I forgot to mention a few things when I went back. I'm like, man, I forgot to mention that. And you know how I am right now. I'm talking freeform, and it's not exactly coherent. It's not exactly like organized, and I think that kind of I realized like after I'd already finished editing it and adding in all of the graphics and stuff, like I'd gotten that far into it to where I was ready to upload it, and then I just decided this isn't how I want to do this series right now. I scrapped it immediately, and that was the only time that I can think of where I scrapped a video completely and started from scratch again, which I am glad I did because I like the way that the current series looks. On to the next one, we've got Dara Fallen Storm on Twitter asks, opinion on when a toxic player starts bashing all of the new / free-to-play players who are trying their best to learn and play the game. I mean, you're asking my opinion on people who are being rude in video games. I don't like them. I don't think that that's constructive. You know, it's fine to poke fun at people. I mean, like, everybody's new, and you know, when you were new, people probably made fun of you. They probably like said, he doesn't know where he's going. That's funny. Like, or said stuff like, oh my God, guy, like, get with the program. And there was nothing you really could do about it. But I mean, like, you can't really. It's just a video game. I think it's all pretty harmless if you just don't take it too far in both directions. If you don't get too offended when people get mad at you, if you don't get too offended whenever you see people like being bad at the game. And like, there are definitely times where I'm toxic in a way, but I don't like say it to them. I don't get in chat and go like, you suck at the fucking game, like quit, you know. I mostly just kind of keep to myself, but I do get into these, like, I don't think what I'm thinking, you know. You think things without thinking, if you know what I'm trying. You get what I'm saying? Kind of like what I'm doing right now. Chase on Twitter asks, are you going to make more MVM videos with other YouTubers or no? I'd like to. It just comes down to getting 5 people in the same server. And all of them are YouTubers, so of course they're always usually pretty busy, either with their own projects, or they have school, or they go to work. You know, it's hard getting 5 people who don't necessarily like put aside time a lot to like play Man vs. Machine, especially. There aren't a whole lot. I don't think there are any Man vs. Machine YouTubers, actually, now that I think about it. If there are, please let me know. I would love to check that out. But yeah, it's just kind of one of those things where just kind of everything has to fall into place. I've probably organized twice as many Man vs. Machine with YouTubers as you've actually seen. So like, I'd say that it has a 50% success rate whenever I try and organize these things. Usually at least one person has to say, I can't make it, or the time zones are all fucked up. Because, you know, not everybody lives in the same area. You have to coordinate time zones, like, oh, what time is it where you live? What time is it? Is it going to be where I live? That kind of thing. So, you know, I wish it was easier to set that stuff up, but I'm completely fine with just kind of not forcing it. Just kind of letting it happen. You know, when it comes down to it, I'm just going to be like, you know, I kind of want to do one of those again. Let's see what everybody's doing, and I'll contact a bunch of YouTubers and be like, hey, you want to play some Man vs. Machine the other day? And if 5 of them say yes, then it happens. If I can't get 5 of them, then it just doesn't happen. Mindblow asks, what do you think about impersonators? Like Uncle Dane impersonators. I mean, they can do them. I don't care. I don't really care. I mean, if they want the attention that I would normally get, and it's funny because sometimes, and like I'd say like once every 6 months, I do put on my Uncle Dane cosmetics and go into a server and play normally, just to kind of like make sure that I can still I'm not to make sure that I'm not crazy and that I can't still wear that stuff. If that makes sense, because like I do want to wear that stuff. I mean, I have it for a reason. I think it looks good, and I want to wear it. But I mean, it's just people just bother the fuck out of me. It's simple as that. People they bother me. They stand in front of me. You know, they don't play the game. They stop playing the game, and I'm sure. I mean, not everybody does it. And there's some people that don't give a fuck who I am, or don't know, or don't care, and they continue playing the game. But it just takes 1 or 2 people standing in front of me for me to be like, okay, this is why I don't wear the beard and the hat anymore. But that's just how the internet is. The 1% ruining it for the 99%. Right, Bernie?
The good news is you're on the right website, and it's a really good website. The bad news is you're on the wrong page.
Josh asks, tacos or burritos? I feel like this is some reference to like my sexual preference. And I'm not, and if it is, then I'm saying tacos, of course, but for all intents and purposes of food here, I'm going to say burritos, hands down. Love burritos. And it's not a sexual thing, okay? You don't got to take it that far, comment section. You don't got to take it that far, listener. All right. I just like burritos. I like tortillas. All right. Taco shells. I don't know. I just like it's hard, crunchy. Sometimes you get, sometimes you get a taco shell. It cuts the roof of your mouth, and it hurts. You don't get that with burritos. Burritos are nice and soft. All right. Jared Harriman on Twitter asks, let's find out a bit about Dane. What do you do when you're not playing games? Oh, wow. I thought it was going to go a little deeper. I thought you've prefaced that question with like a lead up to like, let's find out a little bit more about Dane here. What are your goals and aspirations? No, it just went straight into when you're not playing games. When I'm not playing games, I'm just jerking off, Classic, thing to do in your spare time. You just jerk it. But when I'm run dry in that department, I usually just I don't know, just kind of browse the internet, hang out with my friend. I only have one friend around here. His name's Austin. Everybody else has kind of moved on, either moved away or moved on from me. No, you know what I mean. It's when you're 26, your friends, they all kind of go in different directions, and you find out who your real friends are. And I'm fine with having one friend, and I'm not. This isn't like defensive. I may sound like I'm fine with it. I don't need more friends. No, I'm fine actually with having one friend. It's a lot less work, and I'm lazy in that way. Like if I had like 5 or 6 IRL friends, like I probably couldn't handle it. It's a good chance. The more friends you have in real life, the higher chance it is that somebody's going to be calling you, asking you to do something, or asking your opinion on something, or like bothering you. And I mean, like, yeah, I guess if they're your friends, then you might like it. But I'm just not that sociable. I guess I'm kind of an introvert. I'm the kind of introvert that the more people are around me, the more introverted I get. A 1-on-1, great. 2-on-2, fine. 3 or what am I saying? 2-on-2? No, say I'm in a room with 2 people, fine. That's my max, But get me around like multiple people. You got to get some drinks in me in order for me to open up, because I don't know. Just the more people around, the more pressure there is to like say something. I hate that fucking feeling whenever you start to make a joke to one person, and then the whole room suddenly wants to hear the joke, so everybody fucking just goes dead silent, and you're in the middle of your joke or whatever you're saying, and all of a sudden you're just like, this is not important enough for everybody to listen in on it. Why did everybody go quiet? Like, that kind of thing stresses me out so much, like in that moment where you're just like, oh shit, now everybody's listening to what I'm saying. I hate it, man. And that doesn't happen when you have one friend. You can just say whatever you want to the one friend, and he'll listen. All right. Speaking of friends, Dan Perry, who is not my friend, is asking about one of my actual friends. How do you know iDubbbz? I met him because my friend Mac talked to him on Twitter back when he had like less than 1,000 subs on YouTube, and I invited him to our Skype call that we had, and we talked to him, and he became friends with us. I don't know. It's not a very exciting story. I'm sorry. I wish it was more exciting, but it's not. It's just, you meet. How did you meet your friend? Let's turn it around on you. How'd you meet your friend? Oh yeah, you saw him at basketball? Cool. Not a very exciting story, just like this one, all right? No, I mean, like, he's the biggest meme on the internet right now, which is kind of surreal. It's just how life is. It's weird. One moment you're, making an inside joke, my name's Chef, with your friend, and all of a sudden now it's the biggest meme. Doesn't make much sense, but I'm fine with it. Now I can't say my name's Chef as much, though. I used to say it all the time. It was the funniest thing at one point. Ultra Rad Guy asks, is the podcast mainly going to be TF2 related discussions or anything you feel? I think I went over this earlier just as a default, but it's going to be whatever. I don't really care what it is. But I imagine that people will probably ask me about TF2. I imagine that I'll probably want to talk about TF2. It's a big part of my life. TF2 is a big part of my life at this point. So, I'm going to talk about my life. Probably going to end up talking about TF2 a lot. Rodai, I think that's how you say it. You spelled it, half of your name with numbers. Is Uncle Dan the best Sentryman? I don't even know why I'm answering this question. Of course I am. You know it. You know the answer.
Uncle Dan is a very good Santa man.
No Expert Green asks, do you ever take your well-known NG loadout into public servers to see if people recognize you? ever met an imposter. I've met a couple imposters, but they're not like dead-on imposters. They're just kind of close. Like, you know, they have the disco beat down instead of the Miami Nights, that kind of thing. So, but I mean, it's always just kind of flattering. What is the saying? Impression is the sincerest form of flattery. It's something like that. Basically, you're supposed to be like, don't get offended by impersonations is basically what the saying is supposed to be. On to the next question here. Coles asks, if your engineer's beard was a dog, what kind would it be? Well, it's a white, fluffy beard, so I'm going to have to go with like one of those shaggy dogs. No, because those shaggy dogs look like mops, and my engineer's beard doesn't look like a mop. It's I'm not a dog expert. I don't know all the breeds of dogs, but I imagine in my head a white, like a long-haired. It's just a long-haired white dog. This is a terrible answer to the question. A Chihuahua. Who cares? I don't know. God, this is a really good podcast. Tadjet. I don't know how to say this name. I'm sorry. Tadjet. I'm just gonna skip that one. Beerman 300 asked me if you didn't main engineer, then what class would you main instead? You know, 2014 Dane would probably say medic, but the closer you get to the current year, I think I would probably start maining heavy. I like heavy a lot. I also think that I could easily pick up scout. It's just that the class is so one-dimensional for me. I feel like I'm a decent scout. Like, I've played scout a decent amount, and I feel like I hit my shots fairly well. It's basically just like faster engineer, so like I'm just used to it at this point. But it's just so boring. Like, it can be fun. It can be exhilarating to hit all your meat shots, to just like jump over rockets and just like bounce over the heads of people who are just like, what the hell is going on? That guy's smashing spacebar. But like, it's just not as fun as engineer. Like, it's like scout and engineer are so similar, except for the fact that engineer is so much more interesting to me. I don't know. It's just one of those things. But heavy, I enjoy winning. I enjoy killing people. I enjoy the whole positioning aspect of it. I enjoy how much fucking damage it does. I enjoy that, you know, I don't know. I find it fun. I think that it's totally warranted that Valve would, you know, have a heavy update that would probably add a little bit more variety to its unlocks. I don't think it needs to be better, though. I think heavy is already pretty fucking good. It's a good class. Does not need to be buffed. It just needs to be worked in a way where it's just more interesting to the layman. It's, you know, you could add more subclasses, basically. Shotgun heavy doesn't work. Make shotgun heavy more interesting. Give him a jetpack instead of a minigun. You know, that's an extreme, but it's something, you know, it's something to work with, something to work off of. As for medic, you know, I wanted to main him back in 2014 because, you know, I figured support classes would be fun. But the thing is just like medic is so hard at the higher levels. Like, it's just a hard class. And it's easy in pubs. It's easy as hell. But at higher levels, your brain's going a mile a minute. You're going to have to figure out, you have to keep track of what everything's going, like everything that's going on your side of the field, everything that's going on their side of the field. You have to keep track of Ubers. It's stressful. I already stress out enough with engineer. There's enough, you know, maintaining your buildings with engineer. It's just medic. It's a whole nother playing field. So I have a lot of respect for medic maids who can pull that off. Just not for me, I guess. Wow, you hear that voice crack? I'm 26 years old, boys. Anyway, General Jack asks, where does the sun go at night? It goes to the other side of the world. The world is round, despite what these flat earthers keep telling you. It actually goes to the other side of the world. I'm sorry, guys, but I'm sorry. Tequila. The world is actually round. Been that way for a while. So the sun goes on the other side and comes back around like 12 hours later. Pasta person asks, how to show turtles the light? I don't even know what that means. No one. Ever thought of playing something else than NG to try out 6v6 and widen your range of playable classes? Oh, yeah. Scout. I already talked about this, but Scout, because Scout is a way better sixes classes as it stands now because 5CP is so prevalent. And also Scout is just really good in a lower team size environment. Like in 12v12, in 12v12, it's just like there's so much stuff going on. You're gonna die. Like, you have 125 health. You're gonna die to something. There's a bunch, and also in pubs, there's just sentry guns everywhere. However, in 6v6, there's none of that. It's just like, it's literally half of the danger, but you still keep the same amount of deadliness in your shatter gun. You can shat people with your shatter gun and they die, and you don't have to worry about an engineer putting a sentry gun up your ass, you know what I mean? So it's just, I don't know, Scout's just so good. Of course, I would want to play the best class in the game, but like I said, I wish they would just make engineer more viable for 5 CP or 6s in general. Then I wouldn't have to worry about it. I think they're doing that pretty soon, actually. The Ubermedic asks, what do you think of source filmmaker and the artists who are heavily involved? What do you think of fan art? I love all the fan art that I receive. If you send me fan art on Twitter, I'll definitely acknowledge it. I'll like it, retweet it, that kind of thing. I think source filmmaker is awesome. It really makes for a lot of really interesting additions to the TF2 community. I don't know what else to say about it. I like it. I like seeing art. I enjoy the arts, and I like seeing the creative stuff that people come up with. SFM as an animation thing, I will say this though, you guys got to switch up your format, your formula. It's just a tired old formula, and you guys have such a great tool that you're not utilizing in that it's an animation program at its core. It's an animation program, and you know how to animate. Why don't you make something original? I'm not saying that the stuff that you guys make is not already original, but you guys borrow so heavily from the TF2 canon that all of these TF2 animations end up kind of all seeming like the same thing. Because engineer, he's the Texan, or Scout, he's the Boston boy. There's always the same character, and I feel like there's so much talent that you could draw from the, from all over. And I personally, if you're an SFM artist and you want to make something original, fully voiced, fully animated, fully written to be an original work of art, then I would love to do a voice. I would do that for free. That's my dream. I would love to voice in an original cartoon thing. That's awesome. But nobody does that because it's too much of a risk. It's they're putting too much. And what I'm trying to say is that I realize why people don't do it is because it's much easier to just pull from existing material and work off of that. Of course. Yeah, there's no shame in it. It's just way easier, and you're already animating. That's already a fucking huge chunk of time that you're taking out of your day. So yeah, I understand. But what if you went above and beyond and you made an original cartoon? There's so many different resources. You can change the things in TF2, the characters in TF2, into a completely different character. Look at my engineer, for example. If you didn't already know that the engineer can look like that, you would not recognize that as an engineer from TF2. That's a completely different design. You know what I mean? So, you do that enough and you give it their own voice. You don't have to use, the canned, voice lines, which that's another reason why it all kinds of comes out the same way is because, you got the same, everybody's got all the same pool of voice lines to work with. After a while, it's going to be the same thing every time. Sentry going up. Oh, I'm a spy. Everybody knows that voice line. Oh, I'm a spy. It delivered exactly like that. You hear that enough and you're going to be like, I want something new. I want something different. So what I'm trying to say is write a story. Doesn't have to be anything to do with TF2, and then go in and be like, I'm going to animate this, and I'm going to fully voice it. I'm going to hire all my friends who do funny voices for the thing. I'm going to hire Uncle Dane for free because he's cool. He has a good voice. He sounds like a 13-year-old boy. Get him in there. He can play the 13-year-old boy. Rant over. Do you hear this? This is my chair. I need one of those, racer chairs. How do you get those guys to sponsor you? Do I have to, do Twitch? Do I have to be fast? Because it's a racer chair? Kookaburra asks, is it too late to ask a question? Yes, you're late. Tenacity asks, would you dye your hair white IRL? My hair is already pretty bad. I mean, it's thin. I'm balding. That's no secret. And, if I dyed it white, that might damage it enough to just put the nail in the coffin there. But good news is eventually my hair will be white when I'm old, if I still have any left. I'm hanging on by a thread here. For those of you who don't know, I did grow my hair out a little bit. I'm not bald anymore, but it's not a full head of hair. I still have this receding hairline going on here. So I got that going for me. What's the average velocity of an unladen swallow? I feel like this is a reference to Monty Python, and I don't know the response in the movie. I haven't watched it in a long time, so I'm going to say new, because that's what they do in Monty Python, right? They go new, like that. They make that noise. I don't know. It's been a long time since band camp, drama class, You go into any drama class room, by the way, you go to any drama classroom in the USA or anywhere in the world, really. You go into any high school drama class and you go in there and you say, "It's only a flesh wound." And everyone will jizz in their overalls, dude. They'll go crazy. They love Monty Python. They love it. They can't get enough. It was made in like the 1960s or something, and everybody just, they laugh nonstop at every joke, even though it's been around for ages. They love it. Not saying that's bad, by the way. I'm just making a point. Maykay asks, does Tracer gay? From Overwatch? Yes. Tracer does gay. A Drunk Man asks, do you want to do more collabs, or do you like to do videos on your own? I like to do collabs. It's just so hard to like, I don't want to force collabs. I don't want to force anything. That's what she said. But I mean, you know, what she didn't say is the truth, which is that, you know, I think that most collabs should be organic. It shouldn't be like, oh, I threw in a famous guy just for the fuck of it, you know. I wanted it to be funny. I wanted to mean something. I wanted to have context. So, but I do like doing collabs. I think that it's fun. I like seeing collabs, especially ones that are secret. You don't want to put it in the video title, like, featuring this guy, because, like, collabs are always the funniest whenever you just, like, you're not expecting it. Or if I guess it's shit cameos, because collabs are more like the MVM with YouTubers thing. I guess that's, I don't know, is that a collab? I don't know what a collab is anymore. All right. Like, the word collab is like it's a word from the YouTube yesteryear of 2008, where you find a channel with the same amount of subscribers as you, and you just say, like, you want to collab? I don't even know what that meant. What does that mean? Just give a shout out to the other person in your video? I don't know. Brutal asks, Pan? He just asked Pan ? Pan. No thanks. I actually prefer the machete for my stock reskin. Sadistic asks, will you ever do a sex tape? Well, let's not take it too far here because, I mean, first of all, that's step like 5 of a 5-step program, you know. Step 1 is finding a girl who will talk to me. Step 2 is finding a girl, getting that girl to like see me in real life. You know the rest. But the sex tape, that's a long way down that path. And so I can't even really think about that right now. But the answer is no. Moistists, speaking of sex tapes, Moistists asked, do you plan on uploading anything else rather than TF2, since you know some TF2 fan boys and girls go crazy at that? Yeah, it is kind of a notorious thing. I'm not really sure if it's a thing outside of the TF2 community, but maybe you guys can tell me. In single game channels, like when they upload any other game, do they get the same amount of hate as like people who don't? Is it the same everywhere, or is it just specific to the TF2 community, the amount of dislikes a video will get if it's not TF2 after a long history of only TF2? Because that seems to be a theme, but I don't know if it's just a YouTube thing, if it's an internet thing, or if it's specific to the TF2 community, which I don't think it would be. I don't know why it would. I don't think TF2 players are that much different from anybody else. But to answer your question, I don't plan on it right now, but I wouldn't rule it out. I still have a lot to talk about TF2, and I still like playing TF2, so I don't see why I would make any other content. There's no other game that I'm like itching to do a video about, but I can't because like, oh, people wouldn't like it, you know. And not that that would hold me back either. If I ever weirdly get to the point where I think I want to make a video about this game that is not TF2, then I will. I will do it. But however, as people might know, I'm kind of a one game guy. I like playing TF2, and I only like playing TF2. That's just how my brain is, right? I'm not very diverse. I'm not like a quote unquote gamer. I don't play the newest hot. I don't like look at the Zelda trailer and go like, I'm gonna play that, because I'm completely content with just listening to what other people think about it. Speaking of listening, Crocklane asks, what kind of music do you listen to? I don't want to be too stereotypical here because I think that's lame, but I mean, like, I am lame at this point. I used to have a more refined taste in music back when I was growing up, when I was 16 to about 20. I liked a very specific type of music, and I hated everything else. You know, as you do as a teenager, you hate things that aren't directly, you know, your tastes. I had a collection of, it was mostly just classic rock. You know, I was one of those guys who liked Queen, AC/DC, Journey, Pink Floyd is still I think Pink Floyd is still my favorite band. And I'm not really sure if it's because of nostalgia at this point, but I do think that they're very good. But I've heard them so much, and they don't come up with anything new, obviously, so it's just kind of like, it's hard to, it's like one of those things where it's just been your favorite for so long, that's just what you immediately say, but you can't really tell if you haven't really sat down and thought, are they my favorite anymore? Or am I just saying that just because I haven't thought about it? It's just one of those kind of weird brain loops that you fucking think about it for like 15 minutes, never come up with an answer, and then go to bed. But to answer your question now, I like all sorts of music, and that's very stereotypical, but like honestly, like I have such a wide palette. If you want to know what kind of music I listen to, if I ever start streaming again, because I haven't streamed in like a month at this point, if I ever start streaming again, which I will, and I'm not saying if as in it's not going to happen, but when I start streaming again, I play a playlist, and you can actually go into my chat at any point and type in ! Song, and it'll come up with my Spotify playlist that I play on the stream, and I update it all the time. It's actually kind of, it's not necessarily just my stream playlist. I play off of it all the time, even when I'm not streaming, but it's literally a collection of songs that I like listening to, and it's classic rock, it's rap, it's Smash Mouth type rap, or rock, Smash Mouth rap. Could you imagine? But it's just all different sorts of genres. Like I like electronic music. I like the 80s type music. I think it's called retro wave, like that kind of thing. I'm also discovering different brands of music, genres of music that I like. People are linking me songs, like my friend Pazer. He listens to a lot of chill step. I think it's called chill step. I don't know if that's a real genre, but it sounds made up. But anyway, I mean, he links me some chill step songs, and I'm thinking, I'm listening to him thinking, this isn't the worst thing in the world. I could listen to this. So I don't know. I'm not picky. I used to be very picky when I was growing up. I hated things that I hated, and I loved things that I loved. There was no in between. You know what I mean? And now I feel like those things have combined into just a general appreciation towards things. And there are definitely things that I have strong opinions about, but it's just kind of like more of a, like, hey, that's just my opinion. Who cares, like, what you think kind of thing. But back when I was a teenager, it was just like, no, I'm right. I'm a teen. I graduated high school. I know everything. Remove Kebab asks, what is the meaning of the existence? The existence? Well, the meaning of existence is up to you. You can do whatever you like with your life. Doesn't matter. My friend actually asked me this the other day. He was talking about how, he feels depressed sometimes because he thinks, oh, nothing matters. We're all going to die anyway. The sun's going to explode in 6 billion years. None of this is going to matter. In 100 years, no one's going to remember my name. So... But I was like, yeah, I guess that is a reason to not get up in the morning. You're right. But I like to turn that around, and I don't know, I had trouble making sense to him at the time. I'll try and make sense to you guys right now. But I like to turn that around in my own mindset, and I think to myself, okay, so yeah, I guess you're right. Nothing matters. When you die, you just become nothing in the ground, and then you're dead, and then you're nothing. So why not just take that thought and turn it into, well, if I'm going to die anyway, might as well just do, what I want to do while I'm here. There's no risk. If you're going to die anyway, who gives a fuck if you fall down on the ground and a girl saw it? You know what I mean? Like, if you I like how that's like the thing that I think of whenever I think of like a shitty thing that happens. A girl saw me fall on the ground. I'm gonna kill myself. No, it's like one of those things where it's just like, yeah, you're right. Nothing matters. So why not just take that and be like, yeah, nothing matters. So why not just do whatever you want? It doesn't matter. Why not just try and be the best thing that you can be? I mean, this is sounding a little bit more like an inspirational speech at this point, but we can move on to a more sobering thought. Asdab asks, so would it be about TF2 or... Oh, no, he's asking about the podcast. Yeah. No, this is going to be about whatever, as you can tell. It's just kind of a free-flow thought process thing. Asks, needs more people... Oh, no, I need to pre-read these, because these aren't fucking questions. He says, needs more people, like Moth and Funk. Well, Moth doesn't play TF2 anymore. Not that I wouldn't like having a discussion with her, of course. But I might get Funk on here. Who knows? And I might get Moth on here, too. I don't know. No, good suggestions. But for now, I'm fine with it being just a free-form thought. Although if you guys are just fucking tired of listening to my voice just for an hour, then I can understand, and I'd probably go out of my way to try and figure it out. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap up with let's go with 3 more questions here. Last question, or no, the first of the 3 last questions is from Bushy. He asks, any rough estimates on when we can expect an appearance of the podcast? Well, I posted this thing talking about it back in February, and then I uploaded a video like a couple weeks later talking about how I was gonna make a podcast, and then I teased it, and then now it's like 2 months later I'm doing it. So now, yeah, I don't know. I'm terrible at starting things. I think that's what it is. And what's funny is that I listened to a podcast before this, and it inspired me to actually do my own podcast. So maybe I should just do that more often. Just watch or listen to whatever I want to do so that I get inspired to do something. Because otherwise, I just fucking sit around and watch stupid YouTube videos all day. And then I go and make YouTube videos that are stupid on the internet. That's how it works. Xander Fry asks, do you feel bad, even in the slightest, when using mini-sentries in pubs? No. I don't. I like winning. Sometimes you're the lion and sometimes you're the lamb. I always say this. And what this means is that sometimes you're going to dominate. You're just going to just destroy people. You're going to just shit on their entire lives and they're never going to want to play this game again. And that feels good. And then sometimes you're on the other end of it. You're on the other end of the barrel where you're just getting just absolutely just destroyed. You're getting pooped on by the other team. Your team is just a bunch of like people who just installed the game, so you have nothing that you can do. You can't even carry. So it's just a circle of life. And in those moments, you got to just be like, okay, it was my turn to get destroyed, but next round, next game, I'm gonna be the lion again, and then it'll just be, and they're gonna feel bad. When it comes to mini sentries specifically, they're not that hard to take out. In fact, I'd much rather play against a mini sentry engineer than a level 3 sentry engineer. Because, if they have their team supporting them with a level 3 sentry, then it's going to be, way better than a mini sentry. But more often than not, I find myself playing with teammates who don't care about me, who just, they say, put dispenser here, and then they run away and just don't care that I'm actually trying to build them a dispenser, and then a spy comes up and stabs me. So I'd much rather just play mini sentries. I already explained this in the video that I already uploaded about it. Which I think is funny that the next video after my Gunslinger review is going to be the Gunslinger podcast episode 1. That's funny to me. I guess that's just how it works. Jack per fucking haps. And he censored fucking. It's Twitter. You can say swear words on Twitter, I think. When did you come up with the idea of being an Uncle Dane? It's from a sketch that I made. I think I might have answered this in a Q&A before. But I mean, the name Uncle Dane comes from a sketch that I did on my channel, Whatever We Want. Back in 2013, 14. And it's just me, an old uncle, and my name is Uncle Dane, and I talk like this. And I'm talking about my orchard that I have. It's just a cocoa bean farm. And I run a company that sells hot chocolate, Uncle Dane's Famous Hot Cocoa. I'm very forgetful. The butt of the joke is that I have Alzheimer's, and I can't remember that I don't own a cocoa bean farm. But I'm still trying to sell it. It doesn't make much sense. It's kind of like a surrealist thing, I think. If I want to like make an excuse for why it exists. I just thought the concept was funny of a guy who just doesn't know who he is. And also, I think the origin of that sketch in general is just the fact that I thought that the words Uncle Dane sounded so funny together. I don't know. Just the fact, what am I trying to say? The phonetic sound of Uncle Dane. I like it. It's funny. It's like slightly humorous, but at the same time, it could not be humorous. You know what I mean? An uncle is just always kind of that weird guy that you don't know that well, but he still shows up to family gatherings and he's just like making a joke. Because that's who I am. That describes me. I just show up and I make a joke and then you're like, who was that? Oh, that was just my uncle. You know what I mean? And I like it. I like that. That was the third question. We'll answer one more. There's so many. Actually, no, I just got to the end here. Let's see if we can find one that nobody asks. Because I just read them all. I probably won't do that in the future. This was a test run. This is the first episode. It's always going to be a little rough. So, don't think that this is how they're all going to be from now on. I'll definitely improve. I'll learn to take breaths. Because this whole time I've been struggling to breathe. To get my words out. I'm not used to freeform talking. I usually just kind of... I say a line from my script, and then I press pause, and then I look at the next line, and then I say it. Oh, what would the screen what would the screen look like? Would it be fan art, gameplay, or something like that? I'm just gonna put up the Gunslinger podcast thing right now. But if you guys send me fan art, then I will put them up in the next episodes. So just send me, I don't know, an SFM of me. If you like drawing, if you do digital drawing, if you do physical drawings, scan it, send it to me. It's a work in progress. We'll figure it out. But I do like the idea of putting fan art and stuff up, and then I'll credit you on the screen. But I think that's enough. That's it. That's pretty much it for me. I'd like to give a shout out to my sponsor, Marketplace.tf. If you're trying to find an item, any item in the game, go to Marketplace.tf first, because they will probably have it and you can get it right away. The thing with the Steam Marketplace is that they charge an extra amount of like quote unquote tax for using their system, and that just goes directly to Valve. And I love Valve, but they shouldn't. I mean, they're benefiting off of these items when they shouldn't be. I mean, like, these items are worth 2 cents and you're paying like 2 cents more just to have it on the Steam Marketplace. But you don't have to do that at Marketplace.tf. Cheaper than the Steam Marketplace, and it's instant. And the best thing about it is that those items are instantly tradable. So it's a good deal. And you pay just like from your PayPal, you can pay from your credit card, you can use Stripe, you can use Bitcoins if you're into that. I don't know why you would be. I have no idea what Bitcoins are or if they even exist. I don't know. I don't know what they are. Bitcoins have always kind of reminded me of like Mario coins. I don't know. Anyway, if you want to go to marketplace.tf, you can use my code UNCLE. Whenever you buy 10 keys, you get 1 for free. So you get 11 keys for the price of 10. It's a good deal. Do it. All right. The link's going to be in the description. Just go do it. All right. Spend $30 or whatever on some keys. Who knows? Maybe you'll use them. I think that's going to be it. Let me know if you want to see anything else in the future. If you would much rather me get some guests on here, I'd totally understand. But it's really easy for me to just kind of do this for an hour as well. So I'll just, I'll see what you guys think. All right. Till next time. Thanks for listening. This is Uncle Dane signing out. Gunslinger Podcast. Bye-bye.